Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to ADHDKC Conversations. I'm one of your hosts, Kristen Stuppy, and I'm so glad you're here with us today. If you're a parent, caregiver, or just someone looking to learn more about navigating life with ADHD and neurodivergence, you're in the right place. And today we're joined by a new co-host, Lauren Dreher, and she's ADHDKC's newest marketing coordinator.
Hey, everybody. I am so glad to be here with you. I'm excited I could join, and I'm excited for the road ahead.
I'm also excited to introduce Becky Bowe, ADHDKC's upcoming parent group speaker. Becky is the director of Fit Learning, a tutoring center that uses an individualized, data-driven approach that ensures measurable growth. They apply the science of learning to teach core fundamental skills to learners of all ages and abilities. And she has over 10 years experience as a behavior analyst with a strong background in autism spectrum disorders, developmental disabilities, positive behavior support, and applied behavior analysis. So Becky, what inspired you to help people with learning differences?
Yeah, thanks, Kristen. Thanks for having me on. And I always knew from a really young age that I wanted to teach, but I didn't really know what that looked like for me. I learned early in my career that it did not look like being in a classroom, and it really, for me, looked like one-on-one work. I recognized early in my educational career that I could have a profound impact working one-on-one with individuals, but I didn't know if that meant through special ed or through behavior analysis, and just kind of got lucky and went down the right behavior analysis track for me. And then was introduced to Fit Learning KC, which kind of brought everything back around full circle so that I was back into the academic realm of teaching and working with individuals, but was also still doing it one-on-one and having huge impacts, and really imparting lasting change for individuals, which I've from the time I was itty bitty teeny tiny, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. So here I am.
Excellent. With all of that, obviously, it sounds like you specialize in people that learn differently. Can you kind of just talk about how that works as opposed to the kids who go to class, learn what they need to learn, and then go home and they're done? They don't need to have the extra learning.
Yeah, absolutely. So really, it's kind of more impressive to me that kids can learn in that that classroom environment where there are so many extraneous factors to contend with and to be up against throughout the school day. And so our approach really pinpoints instruction down to where a kiddo is today. So we highly individualize absolutely everything we do. Everything is data driven and informed by a learner's performance yesterday and then today and then what we expect to happen tomorrow. And so we excel at meeting kids where they are, and then taking that next step to get them to the step that's just beyond where they are right now, and doing it in a way that fosters lots of confidence and growth and persistence as a learner. So it's I'm not sure that it should be the exception. I think it should be the expectation for how kids learn best. And but I also recognize it's all one-on-one, and so that can't be those needs can't be met in a classroom full of 23 other learners. But it really is being able to isolate core skills and meet them just with what they've shown up with today and get them one step further in their educational journey on every single aspect of a program that we might be working on with them. So
I feel like when my kids were younger, we struggled with that homework time. And if we had a nanny, she was often better than one of our parents, or even the older brother could help the little sister because there
absolutely.
was so much just tension with
Yeah.
the child-parent interaction. Do you find that it's easier as a tutor kind of center?
Absolutely. Yes. In fact, I've had that conversation with two sets of parents in the last 24 hours where they want to be the one who can work with their kids the way that we can. I don't have kids of my own, so I've never fought that homework battle. I can effectively come in and help my great nephew do his homework, and his parents, it could take them 2 hours to do it. It could take me about 20 minutes to do it. So there is definitely that. that outside perspective of, I'm not mom, I'm not, but I'm also not their classroom teacher. So eventually our kids begin to see us as coaches. We are learning coaches. And so we take a coach kind of approach and mentality to really motivating and inspiring learners to do better than what they've shown up with previously. But yeah, that homework battle, that's not for the faint of heart.
Like, Lauren, you're still in that parenting age.
I am like in the thick of and like entering it right now. My kids do not have, they don't generally bring home homework. They're a little bit young for that still, but like they do need the extra support. We're working a lot on the reading piece of that right now. And I feel so bad for my kids coming from two very polar opposite neurodivergent parents and both trying to teach them like and two polar opposite kids.
Sure.
It's a thing.
It is a thing. Yes. One of the strongest aspects I think of our approach or our setup is that we have a really regimented and predictable session structure. So it doesn't take kids long to fall into the routine of what the expectations are and how to meet their individualized goals and expectations within a session. So and they're generally here at the same time each day, or they've got a consistent schedule that lends itself to routine and consistency. Where at home, you don't have that. You've got one kid going to practice this night, another kid going to practice this night, dad's got something going on this night, mom's got something, you have to work with so many variables that we get to eliminate here, because you walk through our doors and you're just here for fit learning and that's it. So.
Yeah, it's shocking that I still have hair because of all the things you just said.
That's great.
Well, you're, of course, presenting at our May event for our parent group about how parents can build their child's independence by intentionally supporting executive functioning skills like planning, task initiation, follow through. And of course, as a CHAD chapter, we always remind people that CHAD does not endorse products, services, publications, medications, or treatments, including those advertised in any of our publications, webinars, or podcasts. But we're excited to have you help teach some of the parents some of these skills that you've probably learned over the years in your position. The title of your talk is Independence is Built, Not Expected, Scaffolding Executive Function in ADHD Kids on May 13th at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. It will be online and anyone is free to join us.
Absolutely. And I'm excited about this because I am like trying to teach my kids executive function as well as half learn it for myself and the continuous journey that it is. So that being said, can you share a preview of what parents can expect to learn during your talk?
Yeah, absolutely. This kind of dawned on me a couple of weeks ago as I was thinking about having this opportunity that, we start with a young learner that walks in on day one and they don't know what to do when they get here. They don't know what the expectations are, and they don't know how to walk through the steps of a session. And then it crossed my mind that that's how a lot of the parts of a day are or is for our learners, that we have expectations for what we think they should be able to do independently and what we expect them to be able to do. But we don't necessarily teach the steps to get to that. We either find ourselves in a rush, so we're doing it for them, or we determine that we can do it better, that it's just easier if I do it instead of taking that step back to teach you to do it successfully for yourself. And so we really want to look at where are those kind of pain points in the day that we could easily build in some supports for transferring that independence over from mom or dad or an older sibling or a nanny or a caretaker of some kind to an individual of any age having more ownership and autonomy over how they navigate through those predictable parts of a day that happen all day, every day, but maybe in a different order or maybe under different constraints or different timelines, depending on who's kind of running the day and things like that. So we hope to have parents walking out with some strategies that they could implement the next morning to have a smoother morning as quickly as the next day. So,
yeah, because right now I am trying, like, I need to talk to you for like an entire day right now, because me getting my kids out the door right now with my own executive functioning, let alone trying to teach them how to manage
yes,
and honestly establish theirs is a disaster. Is that a
sure.
nice way of saying it?
Yeah,
And
I can see that.
it is hard because I got to keep my own routine as well as help them figure out what works for them.
Yep.
And I, you know, something you just said a minute ago really, it reminded me of when my kids were learning to talk and learn to walk. And that is, it becomes just what we do. And we forget as adults that they don't know how to do that yet.
Yeah.
We have to teach them how to walk,
Yes.
how to talk. And it's no different with routines and structures and functioning
Yep.
the older they get.
Yes. Yes. And it's often the case that, I mean, I see frequently that we pull away those supports really quickly. I have a great niece that's 1, and she is actively learning how to walk right now. And so she's able to walk from one side of the room to the other side of the room. But if she needed to go up or downstairs or whatever, she's going to need better supports for that. And we wouldn't let her do it independently right now because we know that the outcome of that is not going to be what we want it to be. So we're all pretty eager to be there to physically support her when she's trying to go up and downstairs. But on the same, thinking about any other type of behavior skill that a kiddo's learning at a very early age, a lot of times I think we show them once, maybe twice, and then we expect them to do it. And we don't really fade that level of support to where we see them doing it successfully and independently in a way that works for both us and them. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, and speaking that kind of brings to mind, like, for myself, a grown adult, it usually takes me, like, if somebody's telling me to do something or I'm trying to do something new, I feel like it takes me at least a few tries to actually wrap my brain around it, how it's going to work. And I'm a grown adult that already has skills in complex thinking.
right.
But the other piece to that, as for especially neurodivergent kids, is that I have to learn in a lot of different ways, modalities. So I'm really interested to, excuse me, can you give us a little high-level view of how that can look?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So if we're thinking about something as simple as even just entering Fit Learning to start a session, which isn't an experience that you or your children have, but it translates to going to school. It translates to the steps that are required to get to be completed in the morning. When a brand new learner shows up, I'm not just sitting over here at their workstation ready for them to come work. I'm going to support them by giving quick instructions that I may give 2 or 3 step instructions, letting them know what the exact next steps are that I want them to do right now so that they can get their work materials and come to the desk and begin to get their materials set up for their session. The next day, if they were successful with that, with me verbally giving them those instructions, then the next day I may just give a lighter cue to say, don't forget to grab your things. And then the following day, I may not say anything at all and see what happens, but I'm also going to give feedback. I think where we miss an opportunity to teach successful executive functioning skills is I'm also giving feedback every time they're doing what I want to see them do independently and successfully. I know a lot of times parents are pretty quick to correct kids when they're not doing what's expected or what the parent may have thought was needed to be done next in a sequence of events. But it's critically important to be giving that feedback when they're doing it the way that you expect them to be doing it. One way that we do that here at Fit Learning, we award Fit Learner boxes. And so kids they collect these Fit Learner boxes, and then they get to, those translate to opportunities to earn points on their crazy clicker counter, and they save up points, and then they cash out on our super awesome prize tower. And that can be for any sessions related behavior, not just specifically the academic learning that happens during sessions. So that could look like, hey, nice job. I didn't have to remind you today to get your stuff. You got it on your own. Get a Fit Learner box. Or it could be extra seconds of crazy clicking. It could be even just the feedback of like, thanks, I really appreciate that you got your stuff without me having to tell you, is a way to fade the level of support that's needed for learners to begin to take on some of that independence in what kind of looks like a more natural way. Yeah.
Natural and positive, I would add,
Yes.
because how, I don't know, and I mean, I have experience with it personally, but Kristen, tell me if I'm on track with how much more negative reinforcement and negative comments affect neurodivergent kids. Do you know numbers?
I have heard quoted that by the age of 12, kids with ADHD in particular hear 20,000 more negative messages than their neurotypical peers. So that's a lot. And they internalize all that. And even if parents and teachers and other adults say it kindly, turn your listening ears on, or, you forgot to do this. They're not yelling, they're not screaming, but it's still that negative feedback that indicates that I didn't do what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
So
we see that here. They bring that language to session for sure. They absolutely internalize that and carry it with them, and they know that they are bad at those particular skills that other kids show up with, and other kids make it look really easy to execute a session, or they make it look really easy to work through whatever may come up during a session, whatever the routines or the expectations are. We definitely, that is as absolutely present for our learners with ADHD and other neurodiverse profiles for sure. So yeah, we try to flip the script on that in a big way. We definitely want to hone in on what they're doing well and what they're doing that is serving them and the people around them, primarily them. But
when this is all stuff that I'm presuming you're going to be teaching the parents when they come on May 13th at 6:30 Central Time. So I don't want you to give your whole talk right now. But thank you so much, Becky, for sharing your time and expertise with us today. I really can't wait to hear more from you at the ADHDKC Parent Group event.
Absolutely. Thank you for this opportunity and for having me on. It's great.
And I want to say thank you so much to all of our listeners for tuning in to this episode of ADHDKC Conversations. And please don't forget to register for Becky's talk at adhdkc.org/event-list. And we will see you next time. Go ahead and head to adhdkc.org and click on the events tab to sign up.